This might be the actual worst thing that I've drawn in the entire year. Oh man. Friends, we're here today to show a valiant effort in trying to do something entertaining that just went really bad. And halfway through filming this, I wondered if I should actually try to make a full video of it. But in that process, I realized that there is a very teachable moment in my experiences with this drawing, and therefore I decided to power through it and show you guys what it looks like when someone who's been drawing for a long time still does badly. We'll get to that in a minute, but first, just to give a quick rundown of what was going on in this video, I decided that I wanted to do my interpretation of the left-handed drawing challenge, and I have these two characters that are brothers. One is left-handed and one is right-handed, and I thought that it would be a nice cheeky little homage to draw one with my left hand, the left-handed one, and draw the right-handed one with my right hand. And in the same image, they could be side by side, and it could show the contrast between the skills of my dominant and my non-dominant hand. What I wasn't expecting was that I actually ended up kind of messing up the whole entire drawing, and so they both look really bad, and I don't think it's an accurate representation of the contrast between skills with one hand versus the other. So I might do a 2.0 version of the left-handed versus right-handed image in the future, where I do the same image 2 times with the different hands, because that might be maybe a little bit more enlightening. I wanted to talk about what it means to draw a supposedly bad image and what happens when you find yourself going that direction. So I think in terms of my skill, I don't know how objectively I can talk about it, but I do know that I have been doing art for a very long time. I've been making art seriously for about 10 years now. I've gone to college. I went for 5.5 years. 4 of those were for 4.5 were for art. So about 4.5 years of serious study, and yet there are still times when I make art that is so completely off the mark of what I wanted to do and the skills that I know that I can demonstrate, that it just becomes a little bit distressing. But that doesn't mean that I am a bad artist, and I wanted to pass that idea on to people who maybe haven't been drawing as long, or people who are frustrated with where they're at in their art, to know that unfortunately, while you're always going to have bad days that pop up as an artist, it also means that the people that you see that are way better than even me, and you see their wonderful pieces of art, they have bad days too. They have days where they scrap their images, and they have days where they draw something that is so embarrassing to them that they wonder if they should continue making art at all. It becomes a little bit hard sometimes to recognize that. You know, you see the best side of artists at all times. And what happens when you only see the good sides of an artist's work and not the bad parts is that you think that they can do everything great all the time. And that's really why I wanted to share this piece that I'm really not pleased with, because, I mean, even down to the camera being really bad on the tripod and falling down and, you know, getting these really awful angles and everything, this whole video is just so bad. But being bad shouldn't be something that you should be afraid of, because first of all, for you to be self-aware enough to know that you are not making your best work means that you have already gotten beyond the initial slump of not knowing how to make art at all. And self-awareness is so important in art, to be able to recognize where you can improve, because that's the first step, is just knowing what to do. But second, being bad just means that you have something to aspire to, and that you have something that can motivate you for the future. It's really important to turn that embarrassment or, you know, shame of having drawn something that's not your best and turn it into something that fuels you to keep going and to get better. It can definitely be really tough to be stuck in a place where you're consistently making work that you feel you're unsatisfied with. And that happens a lot when you're beginning drawing. It sometimes just takes, a year or two until you can really get to a point where you feel satisfied with the things that you're producing. But even once you get past that point, you can still have trouble every now and then and still make something that you feel like is not great. And it can be even more tough when you feel like you're skilled, because then it's like, well, I know better than this. Why am I doing so badly with this picture? And that's just something that you have to accept and learn to deal with when it happens. Either way, I would say that I really recommend making the effort to see an image through to the end. If you can finish something, it has two benefits. One is that you get the good feeling of having finished it anyways, and the other is that through the rest of the piece, you can try to work on where you went wrong and try to still learn from what you've done so far. You will find that you learn more, especially if you're trying to do corrective work, because in that way you can respond to what you've done so far and try to make it better. Of course, you don't want to overwork your pieces either, but there's still something to be said for sticking it through and doing your best and trying to get it done. And that's what I did in this video. I did my best, even though my best for this particular piece was not great. And I feel, kind of better for it. I feel like because of this embarrassment of how bad this is, I know for the future that I will be able to keep in mind the places that I took a wrong turn in this image and can try to prevent that in the future. So really walking through everything and trying to see what happened is actually beneficial to me in the end. I hope that this was helpful to some people, and I hope that you're able to laugh with me at the poor choices that I made, and I just want to let everyone know that in the future I'm planning on doing a beginner series, and this is kind of testing the waters of targeting beginner artists and trying to maybe give what little advice I can give towards them, towards making themselves more effective and a successful artist with their craft. So hopefully this helped people. If you have any ideas for beginner series, any particular topics that you'd like me to touch on, I would be glad to hear them in the comments. I have a few lined up already that I'm planning on doing. Those are going to take a little bit longer because I'm going to try to do some very serious resources. Try to pull from some very serious resources and some I guess more academically aligned things to not only tell you how you can do things, but also why and how they work. So it'll probably be a little while before I get that kicked off, but that is in the plan in the future. So just keep an eye out, and I hope that you will continue to stick with me in my little art journey, and I hope that everyone can grow alongside me. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you guys in the next video.